So, welcome everyone to tonight's special Animal and Emotions webinar on fear and fireworks with the 4th of July looming. Um, I, I too have one of a pet that gets extremely frightened during fireworks. First time that I've had a dog that is at the extreme end. The other ones might bark a little, but it wasn't where, I mean, she shakes uncontrollably, paces, pants, the whole bit. So, like you all, I am constantly looking for new tools to help her through it. And so we're going to talk about that because it's not something where we necessarily can prevent them from becoming afraid. It's they instantly go into that fight or flight response system. But what the tools will do, hopefully, is help you get them out of it faster and to prepare for it. So if you know what your response of your pet is during when they get that frightened, that we are well prepared ahead of time with everything. So um, I guess the upside of 4th of July is we know we know the date and about the time that the fear state is about to kick in, so we have time to prepare and be ready for it. Whereas sometimes storms, maybe the weathercast may give us a little warning, but still it's a little harder to be prepared and have everything lined up for us. But this we can actually be have a plan of action. So we're going to talk about that today. So I'm going to go ahead and go full screen here. If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat or the Q&A box. I may not see it right away, but do put it in because you may forget about it, what your question or comment is at the end. But I'll definitely give us plenty of time to answer all your questions. So again, I'm Cindy Myers, and you can find more information about my work and my services on my website at yourenergyhealer.com. So today, like I said, we're going to talk about preparing ourselves for the 4th of July and how to, I call it my toolbox, my bag of tricks, whatever you want to call it. I want to have a toolbox with as many tools as I can. And because on 4th of July, I actually use pretty much every tool I have to help my girl through um, her fear state. And by using them all, what I'm finding is every year I'm getting her out of it faster and faster and faster. So that to me is a success. It's not always a, I mean, it would be a huge hallelujah kind of success to have her not react at all. Um, and I certainly wouldn't turn that down. But the fact that I can get her out of it, pull her out of it in 10 minutes versus 2 hours, 3 hours is what it was like when she first became afraid of it. And so every year as I add more tools, techniques, we're getting her out of it faster so she can get into a calmer state and can handle things better. And so that I call that a success, doing that. And then we're going to have plenty of time for demos, and some of you sent pet pictures in, which I appreciate. And so we'll do some releases, emotional releases, and communicate with your pets at the very end and answer your questions. So before I get going, if you're having a medical emergency with your pet, please call your veterinarian. What I can do is provide you energetic support for your pet, and what this does is help their natural healing abilities um, to go alongside with what your vet is doing. If we can get them in a calmer state, keep their energy flowing, that just allows their bodies, their self-healing abilities to kick in and work along with whatever your vet is doing for them. And then with aggressive pets, it's really important and vital to have a certified trainer working with you as well to give you um, uh, proper techniques that can actually visualize what's going on with your pet in the moment of uh, where they're agitated too, so they can coach you through and retrain the habit. I can remove the trapped emotions that help create the habit, but we have to. Then there's a lot of retraining that changes the habit that resulted from the emotions in the first place. So So we need to be working as a team. Let's go right into, I gave you a little background with my dog. Let's go right into the topic. So, fear response. When the fireworks are going off, they're instantly getting triggered by that flight or fight response system, right? Um, and so what's going to happen is they're going to run, fight, or freeze, right? They're going to get really agitated. And if you know what that response is ahead of time, that's really important to know because we do, you know, forever hearing about animals that escape and run. So that's the flight response, the run. Uh, and they don't know when they get into that state, they don't really, the reason they get lost a lot of times is because they're not in their thinking brain, they're just running and they don't know where they're running to, or they're just trying to get away from the noise, so they bolt. And so by the time, and they can zigzag and do all sorts of stuff, so by the time they come out of their flight response system, they don't know where they are. Okay, and they don't know how to find their way back, so that's how they get lost. So we need to be prepared, try and prepare for that. We'll talk about that in a moment. But we need to know, it's really important to know. And those are the typical three responses where they run, they won't, they might get aggressive, or they can have a combination of all three too. So even though they're trying to run and get away, or maybe freeze and get away, if you try and help them, they can respond because they're in that fear response system, even though their primary response is to run or to freeze. If they feel like they're cornered and don't have any other reaction, then they can snap and bite as well. So just be ready. That those are the extreme responses. And so there's there's a lot of varying degrees of how fearful they can be, right? And the fight response might just be that they bark a lot too. They bark, 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 bark. That one's pretty hard to change out. It gets pretty noisy in my household during the fireworks, but even that we can have a little uh, tools to help you through to try and get them out of that state as quickly as possible. So I'll go over what I do for my dogs, and it's fairly successful, and you're welcome to try it for yourself. And you may have ideas that work for you to add into all of our tool boxes, which I'll welcome at the end too, any ideas that you use. So how does your pet respond to fear? It's really great to know, important to know, is it tends to have a primary response, a primary reaction when they get really triggered into that fearful state, in an extreme fearful state. So does it bolt and try and run away? We talked about that. If you know that, then let's put them on a leash. You know, if you have a halter, get and do it ahead of time. Don't wait until the fireworks start. You know, an hour ahead. Get them on the halter, put the leash, let them drag around the leash, you know, whatever, maybe hook it into them that they're carrying it for a while, but then hook them up and then hang on to them, you know, hold the leash through the fireworks. But you might want to have them on leash and keep them in an extra secure place. So I would definitely try and keep them in the house. Uh, in a very secure area, or maybe even a room. Some of them maybe they need to be in the bathroom or a closet. Now some of them may be more destructive and try and dig to get out of it. So we need to be where we don't want to have massive damage to your house. So that's another thing to know about your pet. Do they try and get out of it by trying biting their way through or digging their way out of it? If that's the case, then yes, we might want to have them on a leash and just by your side and have them under somewhat control that way. Does your pet respond with aggression? Same thing. Keep on a leash for control, or keep them in a secure area like a crate or a pen, if possible. Just they need that containment sometimes. They need to feel having too much space is not uh, doesn't necessarily make them feel safer. It actually can make them feel more anxious. Remember, when an animal is frightened, they quite often prefer a den-like situation. They will feel safer in a den kind of a setting. Think about what their normal habitat would be if they were in the wild. They would be in a cave, in a den, under something, underneath something dark where they can feel protected and be back, where they aren't threatened. They can't, there's only one opening that can come in. So they don't have lots of areas to have to be observant of. And think about it with the fireworks, there's just a weird noise and it's echoing all over the place. So they don't know where it's coming from. They don't know where the threat is coming from. And here it is coming from all angles at all times. And their hearing is so much stronger than ours. So if it's loud for us, think about it being 10 times, 100 times louder to them. And by the time it gets to them, it's echoing all over the place, right? And so they're feeling, plus they're more tuned to the energy that these booms create. So they're feeling the vibrational changes, right? It's like experiencing little earthquakes to them. So there's lots of things happening, and to them it's like, oh my gosh, what's the end of the world's happening, and they want to run away, hide, and get away from that, and find a safe place. What they're looking for is a safe place. So if we know what their safe place is ahead of time, where is their most comfortable place, we want to set it up so they have access to that safe place. Um, and then the other response is, do they freeze? Do they shake, pace, pant? That's what my girl, she doesn't necessarily freeze. What freezes on her is her thinking. And it really, on all three of the reactionary, their cognitive decision making process is out the window. They are not thinking at all. So you're talking to them, they don't hear you. If you talk to them, I mean, you probably have noticed it if you've seen them in that really extreme fear state that they can't hear you. They probably don't even hear the leash. And they might actually be aggressive with the leash because they see that as a threat. So we have to be careful of that sometimes. They may turn and try and bite at the leash. I've seen that happen before with animals that are frightened that they feel threatened and they're on the leash and you're trying to control them. They're trying to run away and something's grabbing them. They're turning around and biting at the leash. So it's just need to be very wary of it and protect yourselves, of course, at the same time. So, but if they shake, pace, and pant, then we definitely know that they're in that fear state. And what they really want, again, is that den. They probably want a smaller area that is dark and den like setting. So a bathroom closet is often helpful. My girl, she likes sometimes the bathroom or the closet. She likes behind the couch. She likes to find a little area. She makes up, she'll hide behind her toy box sometime and nestle into a very small area. When she can settle down into those areas, I'm happy. That is a success when she can lay down and quiet herself and stop pacing around because when she's pacing, that's what she's looking for. She's looking for some place to hide and to get away from the noise. So, so having those places open and available to her is what I want to do. Right. So what I do, um, I usually put us in our bedroom, which is the most closed off for us, and there's a closet, a walk-in closet that with no windows. So I have that door open for her, and I turn the TV up really loud. And I have the living room TV on loud as well. So there's noise coming in from the living room. That's normal. So I have my TVs blaring, which is not comfortable for me necessarily, but I don't care. I want the volume up turned up pretty high to try and mask as much of the noise that's going on outside as I can. So we go to bed early at dusk, and uh, and I have a lot of the TV noise, which they're used to, right? So those are, we'll get into tools now. But as I'm getting ready, it's important to breathe. So I kind of have this out of order a little bit. Um, I should have put the rescue remedy or CBD first because what I'm going to experiment with myself is starting earlier in the day. Again, it's preparing because I know what's going to happen that evening. So I'm going to prepare by giving her regular doses of rescue remedy throughout the day or CBD. And also in her breakfast, I'll give her a dose of CBD, maybe late afternoon, 2 o'clock or so. I'll give her another dose of either this rescue remedy or CBD, and then like right at dusk, right before they start going, maybe a half hour before I think they're going to start kicking it off. It usually takes a few minutes for the CBD to kick in, so I want to get that going in their body right beforehand. The other thing I use, again, and I'll probably put that on throughout the day, is the essential oils, and I have one that's called Calmumile. And so I'm going to put that on her and all of them. And I might even have it in my diffuser. I'll have the diffuser going, and I'll have one set up in my bedroom, and I have one set up in the house. So it's in their system throughout the day. And I know that my dogs respond okay to it. And it's, if you have never used these things before, it's good, again, try it ahead of time, because sometimes our pets don't always respond the way we hope to. So you need to know how they react to it. And it allows their body to kind of get used to it in a calm state without the craziness going on. If we all of a sudden we start putting all this stuff into them and they're already in a scared state, and now their body is trying to do something, it that can confuse them as well. So it's good to start putting the essential oils. Try putting some on, you know, now, just a little bit every day, just to see how they do. Their body gets used to it. It creates a Pavlovian response that says, "Oh, this is nice. This is calm. This feels good." Um, the rescue remedy, they start putting that into, give them a drop of it in their water or something. Get them a little comfortable with what this feels like, what it tastes like, what it smells like. So um, we don't want them associating the calm stuff with the fear state. In other words, we want to get it. We want the calming down stuff to happen while they're calm and having a good time. Okay, and that way their body will know how it will help trigger their parasympathetic response system easier than waiting until the first time they experience any of these things, uh, as the fear state is really, red line in full force. So start doing those things, getting them used to it. Same thing with T-touch. That's a modality by Linda Tellington Jones. There's some great YouTubes on how to do T-touch, and it's just a very light touch. I'm not certified in T-touch, but again, check out some of the YouTubes on how to do that with your pet, and that can help them tremendously. But the same thing, start now so that they can get used to what that feels like. It gets their body going, oh, I like that. That feels so good. So that when they're in their fear state, their body, their physiology is reacting to it, not their thinking brain going, oh, that feels good and I want more. No, their body's going, oh, yes, I remember what that touches means. It means it feels good, and I'm going to release those chemicals into my body. So it's not consciously thinking about it at that time. It just physiologically, it's triggering a physiological memory and getting those chemicals to flow in. And that's why it can help pull your pet out faster out of the fear state, is because you've created that Pavlovian response to releasing those calming chemicals. And that's our goal. Okay. So the more you do that, and every year that we come through, or as you have more storms or things that frighten your pets, as you use these tools, we hopefully will see your pets coming out of it faster and faster by using these tools. It may not be a super fast fix the very first time you use them, but the more that you use them more throughout and consistently, your pet will be able to respond to them faster. So now, now I'll go back up to the first three things. So breathing. Well, if we're breathing and staying calm ourselves, if we do full breaths for ourselves, we're acting like mini radars and staying calm ourselves. With our pets can pick that up. If we get agitated with them, then they're all it does is validate their reason to be afraid, because they're saying, "Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah, I'm afraid," and I hear you're not breathing, and you're saying, "Calm down, calm down, calm down," and they're gonna go, "See, I told you, there's something scary." So if we can stay calm ourselves and breathe, because we know, fireworks, you might even enjoy the fireworks, or me, it's like, I'm not into them so much, but I know what they are, so I'm not upset by them. And yes, I worry about my animals, or it hurts to see them so afraid, so that but I don't want them to pick that up. I want them to pick up the fact that, it's fine. We're going to be fine, right? It's all good. So I say over and over but I see that she's in a panic state because she's pacing and panting, and her whole body's just shaking, like literally shaking. She doesn't even want her bouncy ball. So then I know that she's really afraid if she doesn't want her favorite toy that she's always got in her mouth. Then what I want to do then is tell her, and you don't have to be a certified intuitive, just your intention will work. Just say in your mind, and it's best to do it in your mind and not with your outside voice. But if you need to use your outside voice to help remind you, that's fine. But you just want to repeat over and over in your mind: release panic, release fear, release panic, release fear. As you're breathing, release panic, release fear, release panic, release fear. And you're going to say that over and over. Okay. And you might start feeling their energy shift a little bit. If not, that's okay. And then as you say, you say release panic, release fear a number of times, then I add in replace with peace and calm. Okay. So what we're doing by doing that, and it's important to say release and not just say panic and fear, but I want to release it. And I'm picturing it, letting it go. I'm visualizing it myself, like just leaving their bodies, right? Just that energy releasing and leaving their bodies. And then I'm picturing something peaceful and calm. And what that's doing is we're acting like a little radar, and I'm picturing the releasing of those negative emotions, that fear. But I'm also picturing, and now the chemicals in my body of peace and calm are flowing, and they pick that up. Okay, we act like radar. So it's sending out the frequency of peace and calm, which is actually a very high frequency emotion. Those are very high frequency emotions. And so that can get through to some of the anxiety that they're in, and helping to calm down. It's also triggering their parasympathetic response system. Okay. By just repeating in your mind peace and calm. So release panic, release fear, replace. So I'm replacing that fear and panic with peace and calm. Okay. And by adding that in, and I just recently thought to do this myself within the last year or so, and I'm finding not only is that pulling Tesla out of her fear state faster, but she's actually, when she gets afraid now, she's coming to me. When she was in her earlier fear state, before I started adding that piece in, what I noticed was she was so out of her mind, she wouldn't come to me for help. As a matter of fact, she'd run away from me quite often. She wouldn't let me help her. She couldn't stand still because she was so busy. Because again, she's not thinking. So the only thing she knew to do was, I'm looking for a safe spot. I'm looking for a safe spot. And being with me wasn't her safe spot at that point. Right? She was looking for a den. She was looking for some place to hide. And being with me was not hiding. So, and I don't even know if she realized she was even with me, because she was so out of her little noodle because of the fear was so extreme. So once I started adding in, again, she was coming out of it faster, but when I added in this tool of release panic, release fear, and replace with peace and calm, after I did that one time, the next time she became in the fear state, she actually came to me shaking, and now she comes to me when she gets afraid, because she knows that by doing these techniques, that makes her feel get better. She intuitively knows that that is what helps her feels better. That something I am doing now for her is helping her. So try that out. And again, you do not need to have my skill set to do this. Everybody can do this. I believe very strongly we all are mini radars. You don't The difference is that I can interpret the information that comes from the pets, but but we all are can act and transmit out these frequencies that can help our pets. So do try that. and these are important tools. The other thing that is handy are thunder shirts for my dogs. I haven't tried it with cats. I don't know how that your cats would react to that, but um, I don't even know if they have. I would think that they might have something for cats that are thunder shirt like. If not ace bandage, you can use like um, one of those stretchy wraps, and you just go around the chest and you well, it's hard to describe it, but you go around the chest and under the arms and over their bodies. And what it does is it secures them. It kind of puts them in balance. It's like a swaddling. So that is comforting. So I put a thunder shirt on her again ahead of time before the things get started. I like to put the thunder shirt on her, and that too. She seems to know when that thunder shirt is on her. She stays quieter and calmer. Uh, and gets out of it faster. So again, I use every one of these tools on 4th of July. You know, I don't, I use, eh, I'm not shy to use everything. Okay. Is the only thing that is uh, that you might want to check with your veterinarian ahead of time would be the rescue remedy or CBD, especially if they're on any kind of medication. You want to make sure that that's safe. And I can type into the chat box shortly what essential oil company I use that is safe for pets, especially for cats. Um, I, there's certain oils that are very dangerous for cats, so make sure you use an oil that is pet quality and safe. Okay. Um, let's see. And so we'll open up for questions in a moment. But if you need support, I recommend the quick cleanse package right now. That for pets, it's great because you get 4 sessions, and you might want something even ahead of time, clear ahead of time, and then right after. Where we want to keep your pets, and it might take a couple of clearings to really get them grounded, depending on how fear, afraid, and how much emotions and what behavior got triggered by it. So, but you can always use those 4 sessions throughout, throughout the year pretty much, and use them as needed. And we can really clear a lot of stuff out in 15 minutes. Our pets can really work with us on that. So I clear trapped emotions, I communicate with your pet, and we work through some in helping through behavioral and physical issues. And then if you haven't worked with me before, then I would recommend the starter package. And you can check it all out on my website, yourenergyhealer.com, or you can email me too. Um, it's Cindy at beananimallistener.com, or you can just reply to one of the emails you've gotten to me that I send out to you. Just reply to one of those emails, and happy to support you in any way I can. So future events. This Saturday is the Healing Circle at noon Pacific time. Um, Group healing circle where we do some guided meditations. I take you in a guided meditation, and then I actually go quiet myself and join you, and we really do some serious healing. And that's a good thing. If your pets have been really not feeling well after all this, we can intuitively place our pets in the center of our circle too. It can be for you, and it can be for your pets. And sometimes, we get agitated by the 4th of July. If anybody has PTSD, if you're a veteran that may perhaps, and that those noises are agitating. I'm more fearful of fireworks, not from the noise, but from the fear of fire. Petrified with all those things going off of fire, especially with it being a tinderbox. There's been so many horrific fires in our area the last couple of years. So that triggers my PTSD. So getting our own healing circles and our energy put into that center really can help a lot of us through some of the anxiety driven periods and stages of things. Let's see. And then next Wednesday, July 7th, can't believe we're already in July. Um, but it'll be the class, Interpreting Your Subconscious class. It's the only one I'll be doing next month. And then the following Saturday, July 10th, I'm taking that day off. So no healing circle on that day. And then we'll have another one. The next one would be July 17th. And then on July 21st is an intuitive listening webinar that is geared more towards the humans. So we'll send you emails about it all, so you don't have to remember it, any of the dates. Uh, so anyway, but the main one is to remember on, because I do these regularly, and I know I have regulars, but there won't be one on the 10th of July this next month. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and open it up to questions. Okay, so I have a Zen crate which helps, but the music does not work. I also keep the TV on. Yeah, I haven't tried it with certain music. I don't know if Bruce is on. I don't know, Bruce, if you know of any, if you're on um, uh, a certain music that might be helpful. I noticed I have Dish that they have a free dog channel right now, and I don't know if they have any music going with that. Um, but it's certain tones and certain tones that are supposed to be beneficial for calming. Um, but I don't have one of those music. Some of my vets have them. They're little music boxes that are supposed to have the right tones and music. Sounds very new agey to my ears, um, but it supposedly uses the tones that are to calm pets. So Bruce might, if he's on, might know what some of that is. Let's see. Janet asks what CBD products I use. Okay, well let me put the essential oil and the let's see. Okay, I'm gonna list the two. So the essential oil is animaleo.info. So this is for the essential oils. Animal EO is the company that I like to use for my pets that is safe for the cats as well. They have a very good website and good information and a lot of different oils. I'm not an essential oil expert at all, but I use for my dogs the Calmumile, and then for the cats, there's one called Kitty Boost that's supposed to be kind of a good for all with cats. So you might check those out. And then the essential oil I use is called Brizo. Well, it's called Soothe, and it is the product name for CBD. And it's actually a water based, uh, not water bed. It changed the spell check, changed it for me. Water based, and it is from a company called Brizo Pure. Oh, I'll send you the links to these in when I send you the replay tomorrow. It'll probably finish getting downloaded, and I'll put it in the email. Should go out tomorrow to you guys with the replay, and I'll list the products so you can have it hopefully ahead of time. Um, but that's the one I'd like to use because of it being water based instead of an oil. It's really not an oil. It's it goes in faster. When they're scared, we want something as fast as possible. The CBD oil tends to, again, I'm not an expert in this stuff at all, but from what I've learned and from my own use with my dogs, when I've used the oils based one, it it's almost like you have to use it multiple times to kind of build up, and then it does take longer to kick in. Whereas the water based is, I can use as needed. It goes in quickly and it leaves. They pee it out faster. So that's why I like that one. And it's from a company called Brizo Pure, and it's called Soothe. And you only need very little, depending on the size of your dog or pet. I haven't tried it with my cats, so I don't know how it works with my cats. I've used it with my dogs. Um, so for the oil, I've used 1 drop for a really small dog and 2 drops for my biggest guy. Okay. For Tesla, I use two. I use 2 drops for her. And for an adult human, if I need it, I only use 2 drops. So you don't need as much as the oil. Oils, you need more drops. Um, so you need very, very little, which I like to for the water base. So I'll send you the link and the information for both of those products. Were there any other links? And I can look up a YouTube. And you also want to look up T-Touch YouTubes. So I'll look up those things. I'm gonna take a note for myself right here to send you the link of animal EO, CBD, and T-Touch. Any other plate things that you, or do you all have anything? I've read about those Zen crates. I've looked at them a little bit, um, but my guys kind of make their own Zen crates. I think again, like Tesla goes behind my couch over there. Um, a lot of times she finds her own little. She makes her own den. But those look interesting. Those Zen crates. They if they work. Anybody else have anything there that would be useful? If not, we'll open it up to the demos, and you're always welcome to add more in if you know anything. Have ideas or suggestions. All right, so Annie, I hope do you have voice capability, Annie?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yes, great. So you sent me
Wonderful.
a few pictures here. Is there one that you prefer?
The little black one that looks a little rough is a cat that seems to be having some health issues. I wouldn't mind
Okay,
understanding him better.
let me see if this is the right one. Is it this one?
Yep, that's the guy.
Yeah, he looks like he doesn't feel good. What's his name?
Little guy.
A little guy. Okay. LG.
Yep, exactly.
I had some friends that had a really big shepherd, and then they rescued this. Oh, the littlest, scruffiest. I mean, not attractive little dog at all. It was so unattractive. It was cute, but
Oh,
his name was LB for little brother.
weird.
So little guy is perfect. All right. So what's going on with little guy here?
He came to me years ago on the windows, not on the windowsill, on the porch. He was just a stray that had been starting to get into fights left and right. So I finally was able to, I was coaxing him, finally got him in. And for years he's been great, healthy and happy. But lately he's looking rough, and he's drooling and just not himself. He's just sits still a lot. So kind of worried about him.
Yeah, drooling would be is a possible sign that he's in pain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I have one that drools, but that's a Pavlovian response to feeling good. Actually, the opposite.
Ah.
And when I do T-touches on him, as soon as I start touching him, he starts drooling because it's like, oh, but that's totally different. Does he purr?
Yes, he
So
does.
he's still purring even if he's not feeling well.
Yeah, he's affectionate.
So I'm going to tap into him and see if I can feel anything. Ooh, okay. First thing I felt was lower left abdomen. What else? Also might have a tooth issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a funny taste in my mouth all of a sudden. So that would make me think of maybe a tooth issue also. Have you had him to the vet yet?
I had him to the vet, and the last time they couldn't do anything in his mouth, but I'm ready to take him back again for some mouth fix, examination, teeth cleaning, that kind of thing.
Okay. Might be that because I'm feeling something down in my lower left, and it tastes funny. But is it tastes funny because there's a tooth issue or because something else organic is going on? I'm not sure. So let's clear and see if it eases up. Has it almost a little metallic taste in my mouth, sourish.
Mm.
Is his appetite okay?
It's not what it was. He is eating. He's not losing weight, so I'm happy with that. But some of his treats that he liked before, like a little bit of half and half, he does not have any interest.
Are they crunchy treats?
Whether it's crunchy or it's the crunchy treats, no, he doesn't want anything to do with them. But even the half and half, he doesn't want anything to do with it. But he does eat the wet food.
So that's and he ate the crunchy ones before.
Sometimes, yeah,
They just have never been his favorite. Okay.
yeah.
So I'm looking for anything that's more out of the norm, but that might lead me to think he still could be a tooth issue if it hurts. The crunchy hurts.
Mm.
So let's clear. So first emotion that popped in was discouragement. Releasing that. And I still feel something lower left. Unworthy, clearing that. And I'm getting some releases down his back, spine. So that's good. That initial discomfort, is he making to litter box and everything okay?
Seems to be. He's an in and out cat, so I see him
Okay.
out there doing what he does. Yeah.
Okay, does his business outside a lot. Okay. So you may not know. But I don't feel that as much as when I first came in. So that might have just been a trapped emotion that was lower left corner. I'm not feeling that now. Um, Stubbornness, going to clear that. Does that fit his personality?
I suppose it could. He was pretty stubborn when he before he let me help him out. I mean, he came with the time he finally let me. He was beat up and bleeding and
Oh my goodness.
pretty stubborn.
Yeah. Well, defensiveness. That was another emotion that he was thinking of releasing. So I'm going to release that. So now I'm just kind of seeing if he'll talk to me. So he does not think of himself as a little guy, I'll have you know.
I believe that. That's very funny.
Yeah. Is it no? Okay. So I do think I think when you take him in for some dental care, that might help. Um, Definitely, I would check that out.
Okay.
Because I got a yes. I asked him if it might be that yes. So, um, and even though I cleared it, I still feel it. It's kind of like I think it's the thing. Can't swear to it, but that's feels tender to me and achy, like a toothache.
Okay.
Uh,
Oof, those are so painful.
yeah, yeah. Uh, so, but what I would encourage you to keep an eye on. So after these clearings, I did feel some energy shifts. I didn't feel the full shift. Well, let me ask: is there something else we should? Yes, one more. Okay, what's the other? Discouragement. Okay, so I'm gonna clear that. Another discouragement. There we go. It was really tight in his like in mid back.
Okay.
So if you pet or learn to do the T touches on him, you might notice that mid back it will feel like he might mm, tense up or quiver a little bit, and that's a sign that sometimes he might look back at you even. That probably is where it needs attention. I can still
Okay.
feel it, but I did release some of it, and it feels better. It was like I couldn't even move my, you should be able to kind of twist a little bit, and I couldn't. It was so tight back there. Um,
Wow.
so something might have been out of alignment. Maybe he jumped down something. Something might have just, uh, or in a tussle, just kind of tweaked his back a little bit. That too can give him a lot of discomfort. So he just wasn't comfortable, and it's feeling better. It's still a little out, but it's a lot better. Um, So what I'd like you to look for is just seeing if he feels looking brighter, feeling better, a little more perky. That's those are the indications that the releases have been effective. Uh, what and then the second thing to look for is if you see those improvement, do they hold or does he slip back?
Okay.
Or maybe he gets a little better, but it isn't all the way. Okay.
Okay.
If he gets a little better, and either way, if he slips back, then we definitely would want to hit it with more releases. If he only goes part way and then it seems to plateau and not improve anymore, that would be another time that we probably need to release more because it's like I still feel some stuck energy in his back. Um, and then the tooth still hurts. So again, that might need the vet to help do dental work, or we just need more releases. I'm not sure on that. So that's where we would need to interplay a little bit and see um, what's going on. You have to be the eyes on that one, and
Okay.
then I can guide you further on what he would need energetically. But it does feel he did accept the energy, so you should see some improvement. That he feels, right now he's feeling a whole lot better energetically. So you might see him just have a little better appetite, a little feeling better. But I think the tooth might still be an issue. So when they're in pain like that, if it hurts, if you've had a toothache before, you just feel miserable, right?
Yes, exactly.
And
Oh, that's so wonderful. Thank you so much.
all right, okay. Well, thank you. And if we have time, we can maybe do one of the others. But I had somebody else send a picture, so we'll we'll go on to the next one. So thank you for sharing, little guy.
Thank you.
Who doesn't think he's a little guy? And the other Ann, if you there, you were on earlier. Are you there, Ann? Ann Hayes, are you on?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I just sent a note. I know this sounds weird, but I just sent a note in the chat box. I'm getting a real strong feeling that that little kitty might have an abscess.
Yes, that's kind of what it tastes like to me. That it either it's about
Yeah.
to pop out, or that's the funny taste in my mouth. That is like an infection of some sort.
Yeah.
That kind of a taste, uh,
Yeah. I would
and it
definitely get
hurts.
him in as soon as
So I would
possible.
right because it could be, um, yeah. If it hasn't popped out yet, it might soon. So I
Yeah.
would definitely get that checked out.
You need to get that addressed, and especially if he needs to get on antibiotics and stuff.
Right, right.
Anyway,
All right, Ann. So we got Quincy.
yeah. Quincy's a new foster that came in, and I could tell you what his background is, but I'd just be interested in seeing what you pick up from him.
Okay, so here's Quincy. How long have you had him?
Just a couple weeks.
Okay. I hope he's not another one of your tough cases.
I'll tell you all about them after you see what you pick up.
So some confusion. What is
Mhm.
that? So I don't know if he uses his nose, if he smells around a lot, but he says it smells here.
It's probably because all the dogs are peeing all the time.
Ah, that could be. Saying it smells. So he seems wary. Um, I'm hearing wary and concerned. I think, and part of the confusion he's saying is, I don't know where I fit in.
That makes sense with 6 dogs in the house.
Mhm. He doesn't know who you are.
That makes sense too.
Uh, so just a lot of confusion. I don't know. You probably will have to tell me how it's displaying out, how it's at. How does he handle that confusion? What is his response system? Is it, you know, is he in the freeze mode, what, want to run away mode, fight mode,
Well,
and back
actually, his
watching? It feels more
actually,
like that he's watching a lot of things,
yeah,
and he's very overwhelmed by everything,
okay.
by all the newness of everything, and that's part of the I don't know where I fit in. So as he's trying to figure that out, I mean, everything's just so new. There's all these different energies. There's a different person. He doesn't know what the rules are, and everybody's doing different things and acting differently. So he doesn't know what the rules are.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. He came from our vets called us to take him because his owner brought him in to have him euthanized because he bit her and he bit her little terrier dog.
Mhm.
He had been with them, but he's a pet shop dog. He's a Lhasa Apso. They bought him as a puppy, had him for 8 years, couldn't hated the husband, couldn't stand the husband. The husband, I don't know, scared of him or just didn't like him. And she had just had it and took him in to just, who said, this dog's vicious. He's been at my place, and he's probably been here a little longer than 2 weeks, and just calmed down tremendously. He does have an aggressive streak, but I've seen like if you could have a dial on it, I've just seen it slow down, way down, where he's much, much better than he was. He seems to be very affectionate. You just have to be a little bit careful with him, like
Right.
he
That's the wariness.
yeah, I mean, careful as in he's not like Missy. Nobody's like Missy, but he will growl and let you know if
Okay,
he
he gives you cues
gives
that
me
he's
clues.
upset. Okay,
Yes, he
that's
gives me
important. Okay,
yes.
that he'll
I
gives you
I
ideas,
love him.
whereas Missy doesn't. She just whap.
Yeah, well, Missy and he hates Missy. I mean, he picks up her energy. It's like, what the
Yeah.
heck is wrong with this dog? And he goes after her every time he sees she comes near him. Just but he seems to get along with the other dogs, sort of. Um, I've got another male here. who can get a little territorial, so they sometimes growl at each other. But he's calmed down so much since he's been here, and he's been much more able to let me touch him all over the place, and he would not let anybody on his face. And slowly I'm kind of working my way to working around his head. He's almost at the point where I think I could offer him up to somebody, knowing his propensities to be a little reactive.
Well, I think if you get one, I think he needs to be with a female. I wouldn't place him with a male.
Okay.
Whatever his experience with a man, or at least definitely test him out with a man. But I think
Okay.
that he may not do well with men, um,
Okay.
which is probably why he's doing okay with you. Um, is for that is, and I'm not sure. I don't know if he could be with one other dog, um, a calmer dog, probably one that's kind of like no, whatever kind of a dog would be okay. Um, but he'd probably do well as an only child.
I've also taken him a couple times to, we have a canine training place that some of our fosters actually teach there. It's a big open area, and they do it every Saturday, Sunday. And they let us bring our dogs in from our rescue because we,
Mhm.
do so much there for them. And I've been taking him as to socialize him for his aggressiveness. And you can definitely tell he's reactive that way. He's just reacted to new dogs and new people. And he's getting a lot better with that too.
Well, yeah, it sounds like he can anything that's new and scary. Again, that's that fight or flight response system. What is his response? It's to act tough. It's more to go
Yep.
into fight mode. Some of them would want to run and hide or freeze. His is to act tough and to be a
Yeah.
little more. I'm. It's a defensive response. It's an automatic. I'm not thinking about it. But the more that you can give him a different solution, which is your training, and it feels better, and it's secure, and it's consistent. He needs consistency, right? He needs to know. That's why he was saying, I don't know what the rules are. there's there's different things happening here because some of the dogs are acting weird and different stuff, right? So there's
Well, I've got a puppy and a young dog who play all day long. So there's that going on. And then there's Missy walking around with their whack.
right, exactly. So there's all these different weird energies happening, which
Yeah.
is overwhelming to him. And that's where I don't know where I fit in. So it's hard to be, even though you're way better than probably what he had, but in that you have routines, which is he's responding to the training, you have certain techniques, he's responding to that. He needs the consistency. So
I
placing him
think
with somebody that can have lots of routines with him, he's going to settle in and
I think
respond
he's
well to
gonna
that.
I think he's gonna do really well with somebody. And I
Yes,
like I said,
yes, I think he has way more potential than some of your other ones that was like, oh my goodness, right?
yeah,
Like Misty, it's
exactly.
like, oh goodness. But, 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 yeah. So let's clear some of that, and we can talk
Okay.
to him, um, and tell him what we're trying to do. And there's still confusion of why did I leave my other place, right? He doesn't understand any of that even. So,
I got this feeling from
although
in
it's not
this.
a bad thing, because I don't think he was happy over there. So it's just a change, and he didn't
Yeah.
know what happened. And I don't know if he realized he was, you know, really close to being put down. So we don't need to tell him that.
No,
That
don't.
has nothing to do with what's going on now. Um, so let's see, what can we clear for you? Confusion. Yeah, clear that. That was the first thing that came through. Nervousness, clearing that. And then the overwhelm, clearing that. Conflict, clearing that. Helplessness, clearing that. Unsupported, clearing that. There's a nice shift in energy. The improvement. It's not perfect, but we got improvement. Oh, I'm going to do one other thing. Let me clear this first shot. There we go. So that helped a lot. What I did was his first chakra was there's a distortion in his first chakra, which is your survival tribe. When it was distorted in his previous life, and then it's distorted now just because he doesn't know what order he's in and how he fits in. So now I'm going to talk to him about, that this is, you're looking for a forever home for him and who you are and what you're doing. So one way he's there is just kind of like he's not forever. So it seems like, yeah, he just really wants somebody to love him. I think there's some jealousy during that, but the jealousy and some of the confusion isn't just about being with you. The jealousy and confusion was from the previous life because the other dog was favored.
Oh,
So he got blamed for a lot of the stuff that he's thinking wasn't his fault.
oh, that makes sense.
Uh, and what he said is, I just want to be loved.
Well, tell him I love him because I really do. I mean, I could see, yeah, he's a sweetie.
Yeah.
More
And
and
I
more,
think he needs simpler.
simpler.
He'll survive. He'll thrive in a simpler environment. With 6 dogs, it's not simple. There's a lot of things always going on that he has to be trying to figure out. Kind of wants to be the special one.
And he deserves to be. Tell him he deserves to be a special one. We'll
So
find him.
that's what you're trying to do, is find him a home where he's the special one.
Yes.
I still feel pretty strongly that he would feel better probably with a single female. Somebody
it.
probably that isn't a newbie either, that can, maybe continue with his training, that wants to work with him, because there's going to be
Yes.
some stuff that they probably will need to work through some of these habits and to build the trust. And that would be another good time if you do find him a home, that I would want to clear and communicate to him that this is a forever person, and helps facilitate that, because there is a wariness and mistrust with 2-leggers.
Okay.
He didn't have that. He didn't have that consistency, and I think the woman might have loved him to whatever extent, but also, he was the one discarded. So,
Yes.
so he knows that. So he doesn't fully trust humans.
Yeah.
So, but we can overcome that. And if somebody truly loves him and thinks he's just the world best thing in forever, will fall in love with him, then he's going to really thrive. And just he has a big heart. I can feel it. And he wants
I'm
to give it to
falling in-
somebody. I think he wants to give it to somebody. It's just that it was not accepted before. So that hurt his feelings. Part of the helplessness. And then and then the jealousy, and then because it wasn't accepted, then he got defensive, snappish, jealous. Which is probably why I think he might be a better at as an only dog, where he can receive all the love. Because when he had to share, that's when the jealousy comes out a little bit.
Mhm.
So think about that. That would
That's a
be primarily the priorities in placement. I think he
that's a
could do
lot. And
better.
I thank you. That's a
There's
lot.
some
And I
there's
thank you.
some that might do better because with another, and I think he could handle it maybe with one other that was just the right temperament dog, but now you're really having to balance others. Whereas if you just say you'd be better as an only, it kind of simplifies as your search.
I agree.
So, any other questions with him?
No, thank you. Thank
welcome.
you. Everything you said makes sense. Um, yeah, everything, yes. I've actually kind of fallen in love with him too. I could see he has great potential once he trusts more.
Right. That's a good indicator. I'm going to be honest with you. It would be a challenge and not necessary to his best interest just because you have so many other dogs.
Oh, I wouldn't keep him. No, he needs to get a good home.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Wanted to be clear with that.
No, I get you. I'm totally with you. Thank you.
Because if it was me, I don't know how you do it because I'd fall in love with them and why not keep them all?
Well, I've got a little 5-month-old right now that I'm absolutely in love with, and he's totally eaten up my couch, my leather couch. He destroys everything, and I'm just in love with him. He's got this almost open heart. He's just so sweet. He's going to be hard to place.
Hard because you love him so much, or hard because he's so destructive at
No,
this
because I
stage?
love him so much, because
Ah,
it's such an
well,
innocent. He's such an innocent.
you're
Yeah.
allowed to.
No,
I
no,
tell
no.
myself I'm allowed one. I can pick one.
No, well, yeah, I gotta find a home for him so I can repair my house.
House. Well, I've given up on mine.
Oh,
Very good. Well, thank you for sharing him.
thank you.
So we're going to go into the healing circles in a second because we're a little past the hour now. But we got a few more comments here. So Gail says that because I asked Gail and Bruce if there was any kind of music that they could recommend. He doesn't have a specific product, but suggests combination of natural sounds with pentatonic scale. Frequency seems common to both canine and human. So yeah, it seems like certain music channels respond well. So you might check that out. I think a lot of the new agey kind of music sometimes nothing too high and too low frequency. So Sonia says she also hides under the bed. I try not to move because she wants to follow me around. Yeah, me too. I try and stay put. Um, okay, and Francia, hello Cindy. I just want to give you an update on Logan. And clearing his feelings. He's doing better, having better mobility, apparently a better control of his pain. Good, good. So for Logan, he might need regular maintenance kind of sessions because, as I recall, he had some pretty severe arthritis. So if we need to work with him again, just holler. So Sam says, not that William tell Richard, no, or the 19. What is that? 18. What is that one where they blow off the cannons? Oh, I just drew a blank. They always end the summer outdoor park with that one. Okay, very good. So if you all want to hang on, we'll go ahead and go into the healing circle. So I'm going to stop